Hello, this is Joe Pryor, the virtual real estate team in Oklahoma City, and I'm going to do something I think is a very dangerous thing for people to do. No, I'm not going to skydive or do anything crazy. I'm going to make predictions that go beyond 2021. Now, I've already done a video about what I think next year is going to be like, but I want to talk about what potentially could be happening in 2022 to 2024 that investors need to think about right now. We've had a terrible pandemic this year in 2020. A lot of people were out of work, 14, 16, 17% unemployment rate at one time. And yes, part of the economy has come back. Maybe 8 million people or so from the last statistic I saw got their jobs back, but other people did not. And other people did not have the money and the staying power to get past a crisis. So we have about 6 million homes right now in the United States that have mortgages that are behind, and that is a very, very large number. Reminds me a little bit of 2008. And so what is going to happen, in my opinion, and not absolutely for sure, because there's some ways that we can get around this problem, but if we just basically take the laissez-faire attitude and government doesn't do anything, then a lot of these houses are going to go into foreclosure. Now, the other thing that's happened with COVID is that we've had the court system really backed up tremendously. Now, if I go back, for instance, to 2008 and 2009 on, when there were a lot of foreclosures from that crisis that went on, the thing that we saw is that there were some areas that, like Texas, that foreclosed very, very quickly. On the other end of the scale is New York, where it took 3 to 4 years to foreclose, but at the very minimum, it was 6 to 8 months in most markets. Now, let's add to that you're going to have a backup in the court system. And that is what takes us past 2021 on foreclosures coming in the market and potential price drops. And so that's why I'm saying, depending on the state that you're in, 2022 to 2024 is where I really do think things are going to happen. Now, if the government comes in, and they did something they didn't do in 2008, they did forbearance. They gave people 12 months not to make payments. Now they're going to have to catch that up, and that is the problem. Now, here's the deal. If the government comes back in and says, here's what we're going to do. If you got your job back and you're making an income, we're going to allow you to take those missed payments. Let's say that's $15,000, just to throw out a number. Now that's Oklahoma, not California. And then in that case, then we're going to add it on to your principal balance. We're going to adjust your payments, redo your mortgage, modify it. We want you to stay in your homes. And I do hope that happens. If the government doesn't do that, then we have the next foreclosure crisis coming in 2022 to 2024, and primarily in markets you can expect: California, Florida, Arizona, Nevada. These are the markets that, primarily are going to get hit. Because as I've said a long time ago in videos, there are 3 kinds of markets you can invest in. One of which is a linear market like Oklahoma City. 20 years of consistency of no high highs, low lows, low end of the foreclosure scale. Affordability, where people are not having to make extremely high payments, and a fast recovery in terms of unemployment. As versus Florida, where it's cyclical anyway. California, where affordability is a real problem and it's cyclical. And then places like Phoenix or Las Vegas that kind of go along steady and then kind of have some crazy things happening to them. So those are the markets that you really want to be concerned in about what's going forward. And so I would add that element of caution. I would add that element of what I think is going to happen in the future. But let me say this. I think the most important thing for our government, in my opinion, to do is not to treat the average American as a moral hazard as they did in 2008. I understand rescuing the financial system and Wall Street. What I don't understand is that hardworking people who had nothing to do with COVID-19 should not lose their homes. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope the government helps us out in terms of avoiding a foreclosure crisis. But if it does happen with the court backups, it's got a ways to go, 2022 to 2024. So next year, when the forbearance ends, that's when we're going to know.